Hello, everyone. Um, we are now at the point of the semester where we have to start working on the research component of the research paper. I realize that we're not necessarily quite done with peer review yet. However, I think that this quick demonstration will help when you start incorporating research into your paper. So we're going to go over real quick how to do in-text citation in a paper, as well as how to navigate the databases at Chaffee. Not that you only have to use databases. You can use other outside sources like the LA Times, like the New York Times, the Washington Post, credible, like established newspapers that have to adhere to fact to stay alive, to stay afloat. The AP is really good for that, NPR, stuff like that. Journalistic outlets like that are viable sources for this paper. Of course, you want to stay away from things like People Magazine or things like that. The New Yorker would be okay. That's a pretty good source. I've found that their articles tend to be much more heavily fact-based, data-based, data-driven, evidence-based articles versus other stuff out there that is like somebody's blog page, basically. So, all right, let's get into how to cite sources within a paper. So this is a former student. I normally will take student names off of papers, but Lee didn't want me to do that. He said, do not take my name off the paper. I want credit where credit's due, and I respect that. So there's his name. I asked him if he'd like me to take his name off. He said, nope, please keep it on there. So, all right, so I will do that. If I ever ask you to use a sample paper, by the way, you do have that option of letting me take your name off or keep it on. Typically, I take it off, but hey, if he wants that credit, of course, I'll leave it on there. So, all right, so maximum debates over the minimum wage. Great title to begin with, right? So you want to have a title that sort of points to what you're going to be talking about in the paper. It shouldn't necessarily just be the thing. Like if you just had minimum wage as the title, it's kind of boring, right? It doesn't really capture your attention. But this is a bit more engaging of a title, I feel like. So good start. He's going to be talking about the minimum wage, obviously, in this paper. That is a controversial topic. That's a hot button issue, right? So good one. So when he uses a direct quote like this, he is doing a very good job of putting in this obviously doesn't have an author, and so he'll put in the web page title. But there are examples in this paper of, there's another one that's the web page title versus the author. There is an example, though, of a direct quote that's used that does use an author. This is exactly right. You have the person's last name and the page number. Excuse me. And then the page number, and then the period goes on the outside of the parentheses. On the outside of the parentheses. Or my Canadian neighbor would say outside. I give him a hard time. My mom's Canadian, so I can do that, right? So. House and all that. You know how to spell Canada, right? Canada. All right. So anyway, we're going through and we're checking out. Okay, look. So we've got Rousseau here. Like you have to use those authors from our reading. We got Rousseau in the parentheses and the page number. Very nicely done. There are examples in this paper. I'm not sure if I can find it right now, but there are examples in this paper of him paraphrasing and then using the parenthetical reference where he found the information. If you paraphrase a source, if you summarize a source, you still need to cite it. Okay. So, for example, oh, good. Here we go. This uses statistics that obviously need a citation, but he's clearly using an outside source that he's paraphrasing. But then there's no direct quote, but he uses the parenthetical reference anyway because he has to, right? It's not his information. He had to get it from somewhere, right? Okay, so I think this is a pretty good rundown of how to incorporate those in-text citations in the paper, either by directly quoting or by paraphrasing. There is another way to do this, and that is to block quote, but I feel like a 7-page paper is kind of short to use block quotes. And I know that you might be thinking 7 pages is not short, but it's short enough to where I don't want a whole lot of block quoting because that just seems to overrun the paper. And if you want to do it here and there, that's fine, but it's just like, then it just kind of looks like you're, letting the sources overtake or overrun your paper, and that's not good. All right, it takes away from the credibility as from you as the author. So anyway, please don't use block quotes. At least maybe if you're going to do that, maybe once, okay? Because what you want to do with that is really break down that block quote in many different paragraphs after you use it. Okay, I'm sure you're familiar with this web page here. I'm going to go ahead and get us to the library. So there's all departments. And we're going to scroll down, blah, 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 all the way down here to the library. And then we're going to click on Articles and Database List. And then we're going to click on, this is my favorite database, Academic Search Complete. You know that the articles in here are credible. You know that they are well researched. You know that they come from journals that are also tend to be peer reviewed, which means that you have to have your submission read by other experts in the field to get into that publication. So, it's that it's fact based, and so. Let's go ahead and click on that. And then you're going to have to enter your user ID, your Chafee ID, and your password. Let's see if I can remember my password. Hey, all right. So, let's see. I'm a college professor. Let's do English. College professor. That would be my career of choice, right? Here's an article about tenure. The double life of a blue-collar scholar. What's so bad about a professor's job? That's a loaded question. All right, let's see. Yours for the Revolution, Communication and Identity in the Western Clarion. Oh boy, that sounds interesting. What are we learning about academic integrity? Okay. So you'll notice that some of these are periodicals and some are academic journals. Whatever periodical is in here typically tends to be good to use, right? Because the database, again, like I said, winnows down, narrows down the subject, the article in terms of credibility, right? So I was just looking at this one: perceptions of professionals who express religious beliefs. It's interesting. Let's see. Yeah. So let's say you do want to narrow this down to only use academic journals. You can do that too. You can just click on academic journals and it will narrow that down for you. And then I don't want anything all the way back to 1887, so I'm going to go ahead and go 2010. Whoops, that'd be 2010, not 210. There we go. I'm not saying you can't use anything, beyond past 2010. However, you do want to make sure that you have recency, right, currency. You don't want to go back to like 1800 something because that's not really relevant to today, right? Let's see. English college professor. I'm going to do America, United States. Let's see what we got. It's a viable career path. At first light. Okay, computing clouds. Yeah. No choice but to serve. All right. All right, let's go ahead and just choose this one. First thing I want to do is maybe read the abstract. This is going to be very helpful in terms of, the viability of this source for your paper. And this looks pretty good. So you know what? I might just save that. So what you can do if you've come across an article that you really like and you know you're going to use is click on the email and then send it to yourself in an email. That way you have it there saved. You can also do the permalink. It brings you right back to this, and that way you have it saved for another time too. Or you can do all the above, which would be better, right? You could just have it backed up everywhere. But you could also save it to a USB drive or something like that. Anyway, but I like all of these features, right, because it allows you to come back to it very quickly. Another feature that I really like about Academic Search Complete is the citation feature. I wish I had this in grad school. It would have saved me so much time. And you just go to MLA, copy, paste, pretty much done. Not done, okay, but you're pretty much done. If you copy and paste this, what's going to happen is the parts that are italicized won't be anymore, so you have to go back and italicize those, and then you'll have to double space it and make sure that it's tabbed over. But that's kind of it, right? You don't have to start from scratch, which is so very helpful. Wish I would have had this, but anyway, so I think that's it for now. But if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm always available. I try to respond as quickly as I can to your emails. Sorry if that hasn't been the case recently because of the fires and all that, but anyway, I hope everyone's well. We'll see you later.